Have you ever felt betrayed by someone you thought was your friend, someone, maybe even a relative? You ask them for help and suddenly they remember all the rules. They suddenly have new changes in their itinerary. They do not want to step out of the line even for half an inch. This is nothing but resentment disguised as principle. This is the core personality of ChuckMcGill in Better Call Saul. Let's take a deep dive. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and welcome to Desi Entropy. So in Better Call Saul, ChuckMcGill, Jimmy's elder brother, follows a core psychological pattern. The pattern is he disguises all his resentment and hatred as principle. He will never say, I'm jealous of Jimmy. He'll never say, I am threatened by Jimmy's success, or I am threatened by Jimmy. But he will say, Jimmy is not a real lawyer. Jimmy is not good enough. Jimmy is street smart and he takes shortcuts and he cuts corners and all those things. So all his hatred, he uses his intelligence to disguise that as principle. It's basically his entire moral judgment about his brother that's coming out as principle. This is what usually happens when you hate someone and you want to hate someone but you cannot. Because it was very difficult for Chuck to accept that his brother, who is like he treats him as a street criminal, he bailed him out a couple of times. So in this guy, how the hell did he become a lawyer? That resentment never goes away. Because being a lawyer, being disciplined, being intelligent, being smart, being the top of the line lawyer and all that, that is not a part of his life. It is his entire personality. That is who he is. And that personality is not able to accept that someone simple like Jimmy can become a lawyer. The other thing is that Chuck sees Jimmy as a social threat because Jimmy has things that Chuck does not. He has the charisma, he has street smartness, he has the persuasive skills, he's an excellent salesman, he is lovable, old people love him, everybody loves him. Resentment is the only emotion that can make another person's strength feel like a threat to yourself. That is what Chuck is. He is so resentful. Nietzsche's concept of resentment is a useful lens through which we can look at all this. Nietzsche says that when an uncomfortable emotion becomes difficult to acknowledge, it comes out as moral judgment. Chuck cannot say, I am threatened by Jimmy. He will say, Jimmy is a threat to legal profession. He cannot say, I envy Jimmy, I am jealous of Jimmy. Instead, he will say, Jimmy is immoral. That's how, when you're not able to acknowledge an uncomfortable emotion, it comes out as moral judgment. Age-old principle. Then there is the concept of projection, where Chuck accuses Jimmy of being deceptive, of being manipulative, of working around the rules and engineering outcomes. But that is exactly what Chuck does. He does the exact same thing to make sure that Jimmy does not have a career. He does not become a successful lawyer. So whatever he accuses Jimmy of being, he is actually that person. Then there is the tragic feedback loop. Throughout, Chuck is trying to prevent Jimmy from becoming a lawyer. He is trying to put stops wherever and whenever possible by discrediting him throughout. And this is what makes Jimmy cynical. And in the end, what happens? He gives up his own name and he becomes Saul Goodman. So, paradoxically, Chuck was trying to avoid the creation of Saul Goodman, but in the end, he ends up creating Saul Goodman. And this is not just limited to Better Call Saul. The universal lesson for everyone here in academia, businesses, friendships, associations, everywhere is that there are standards and then there are standards. There are standards which are okay, but then there are standards which are mostly used to protect their own status. When you're trying to correct someone's behavior, when you're making a moral judgment about someone, are they trying to really improve you or are they trying to protect their own status? Now that is the question that we need to ask. So, in summary, Chuck was not afraid that Jimmy was going to be a bad lawyer and is trying to save him. He was afraid that Jimmy will become a successful lawyer without becoming Chuck. That is the difference. Thank you for watching.